Inside of you there are two wolves. One wants to kill Texas, one wants to Texas. At least that's what fan art makes you believe. That's probably the oldest meme within this community, Texas's and Lappland's relationship. People caught onto that stuff very quickly. Let's go deep and find out what's really happening between them two semi-furry criminals. Our story starts at the beginning. As you know, Texas was born and raised in Colombia as a part of the Syracusan diaspora there. Lappland, however, is fully from Syracusa, born and raised there, meaning that they essentially grew up on opposing sides of the ball. But at some point, Texas's grandpa, Salvador, the head of the Texas family, sent her to Syracusa to live there for a while, in order to learn about the way of living there and whatnot. Who cares about what old people think? Syracusan families have a bit of a prejudice against members of Syracusan families from Colombia, but when Texas lived with them, they said that she fit in just like an actual Syracusan. She got a lot of respect from the Syracusan families despite her background, and ended up becoming something of a star-studded name in Syracusa. The interesting thing here is, during her time in Syracusa, she was staying with a family named Saluso. There, she met a girl named Lappland Saluso, who is the daughter of the Saluso boss. What a coincidence! Texas and Lappland were very competitive back then. They had a bunch of little contests with each other. Both would sometimes win, sometimes lose, and it seems like at least Lappland has some fond memories of that time. We later learn that it was during that time where Lappland established a very strong image of Texas in her head. She saw her as almost the perfect Syracusan. That will be relevant later. We jump ahead in time. When the big Texas purge happened and Syracusa's families sent out their forces to destroy the Texas family, Lappland was also a part of that force. When she joined the mission, she was hyped as fuck. She was fantasizing about fighting to the death with Texas, about both going all in and about one of them dying for the sake of their family. Those thoughts really got her going. One can tell that she has always been rather special. With the purge coming to an end, Texas ended up being the only high-level target still alive. Lappland tracked her down and found her. She was standing in front of the Texas mansion, which was burning down. And the arsonist was Texas herself. She turned around and slowly walked towards Lappland. That's when Lappland understood. Texas decided to stand by idly and watch the end of her own family unfold. And the only thing Lappland saw in Texas's eyes was exhaustion. During the purge of her family, Texas actively made the decision to betray them by ignoring her father's orders to help them out. The reason is pretty simple. She absolutely hated the way of the Syracusan families, but always thought to herself that she would never be strong enough to change the system or to make any difference. Thinking that there never will be an end to all of this, she instead decided to run away. Watch my Texas video for details on how she got away. Lappland did not kill Texas during that purge, which essentially meant that she failed on her mission. As a result of that, she was kicked out of her family, although she was the daughter of the family boss. She even lost the right to carry the name Saluso. So why did she not kill Texas? Lappland grew up as a proper Syracusan family member. She became a very strong asset to her father. However, at some point, back when she was way younger than now, she tried to wiggle herself out of it. And it was not just a face, dad, face. She actually hated it there. Her younger self always thought that she was both rebellious and crazy enough to get out, but no matter how much she rebelled, she always ended up staying her father's puppet. Fully being in denial about her inability to escape the swamp, she just continued and continued to try, and as she never was able to pull it off, she slowly stopped to try. Her father always believed that she would one day fully, completely grow out of all of that rebellious stuff, and she probably would have if it wasn't for Texas. Now hold on, because this is not the story of seeing Texas revolt, reignited Lappland's wish for freedom, and she decided to free herself as well. Arknights isn't an anime after all, it's the exact opposite. When Lappland looks at Siracusa, she sees it as inescapable, which is a result of her own inability to escape. When she looks at Texas, she sees a Syracusan family member through and through, properly poisoned by the swamp. When she then saw Texas, the in her eyes perfect Syracusan, run away from the Syracusan family stuff, which in her eyes was inescapable, that made her feel things. It made her feel exhilarated, because in her mind she knew that Siracusa would never let her go. She always knew that Texas would one day have to return to Siracusa, and she got very excited when thinking about what would happen then. So to summarize everything up until now, Lappland tried to escape when she was younger and failed. That led her to believe that Siracusa is inescapable. When she saw Texas try to escape, she then got very excited over the fact that she will never be able to escape. And while Lappland seemingly always has been a very special being, we have now gotten to the point where some very special behavior really starts to shine. Let's looky at Il Siracusano. When Texas went to Volsini, Lappland did the same. Using her minions, she gathered intel on why the Bellone family brought back Texas, and even pays her father a visit to tell him about Texas's return to Siracusa. And by visit I mean she forced her way into the estate while killing a bunch of Saluso guards. Now obviously Texas did not come to Siracusa for fun. She is here to fulfill a promise to the Bellone family, do a couple of tasks for them, and after that she will be allowed to leave and she will be left alone. Easy as that. During one of those tasks, Lappland attacks Texas to make her presence known. She says that she's here cause she's here, and that she wants to help Texas. Help her, eh? Let's see how that went. After the assassination of Karachi, a judge imprisoned Texas, saying that she is a sassy pact who might be responsible for said assassination. Lappland then later breaks into Texas's jail cell, where she talks her into getting out of there. The way she convinced Texas? By saying that the judge is in danger. Texas leaves and saves the judge from an ambush. Not much later, Lappland visits the people who ambushed that judge. They are very confused over who got Texas out of jail, and while they have no idea that it was Lappland, Lappland approaches them and offers them her help. Although Texas is absolutely not responsible for the assassination mentioned earlier, the Bellones plan to put on a fake trial where she gets announced as the one responsible, hoping that this will calm down the entire situation. After that, she doesn't have to actually stay in jail, she will be allowed to leave. The ambushers from earlier don't want the situation to calm down, and Lappland offers to make sure it won't. And so she gets herself a truck and crashes into the courtroom as the trial was happening. After that, she continues to drive around inside of the building so that everybody knows it wasn't an accident. Then she gets out of the truck and announces herself as the one who assassinated Karachi. Not very helpful. Later, during the big hit against the Rosati, she fights on the side of the Bellone-Saluso alliance, just like Texas, so rather helpful. After the Rosati hit, Texas was told that she fulfilled her promise to the Bellones and that she is allowed to leave Siracusa. Lappland meanwhile spots Texas's childhood friend and head of the Rosati, Giovanna Rosati, being in trouble as the rest of her family turn on her. Lappland calls Texas and tells her about it, but not in the sense of "quick, you have to help your friend." Instead, she creates a bit of conflict within her. Like, "Texas, you were ready to fight Giovanna to be able to escape the swamp. Will you really jump back into the swamp just for her? The best chance to leave would be now." And just about after the call, she can be found saying that the decision Texas makes now is very important to her. and right now she wants her to decide to return to Lungmen. Well, that was weird as fuck. We started off with her saying that she wants to help, then went to her actually helping, then to her messing it up for Texas, then to assisting her in the Rosati mission. Then after Texas was freed from the family stuff, she talked her into jumping right back into it, while also saying that she wants her to leave it behind. Maybe some of the sentences made by her will give us some clarity on her actions. She can be found saying that she wants to break somebody's faith. It's simple. I need her to understand that Siracusa is a swamp. You don't get to just wait your way out. That goes for all of us. Interesting. She can also be found saying that she wants to prove to Texas that Siracusa is a swamp she can't escape from. She says that she will do that by not fully going out of her way, just always helping her out a bit, all with the end goal of putting her in a situation where she is forced to admit that all her struggling was for nothing. That's what she meant when she said that she wants her to make the decision to return to Lungmen earlier. She doesn't want her to free herself and return to Lungmen as a free person. She wants her to feel so powerless that she breaks and goes back to Lungmen fully defeated, knowing that she can't do shit. That's been the motive of her actions all the time. Depending on what Texas does, she either helps her out or messes things up to her, all to negate the effects of whatever she has been doing, essentially setting her back to zero with everything that happens, to make it seem to her that she is completely powerless in front of the swamp that is the Syracusan family system. She is fully fixated on Texas. There's only room for one person on her path, and Texas? She is her path. Mental. And if that wasn't mental enough, on multiple occasions during Il Siracusano, Texas was in a position where she literally would have fulfilled her oath to the Bellones and would have been allowed to leave. Literally, if it wasn't for Lappland's involvement, Siracusa would have let her go. And that's where we have to understand the mindset of this person. Remember when we talked about her past? About how she once tried to rebel against her father and the life predestined for her? I think that her personal failure to escape has fucked her a lot. Essentially something like, I wasn't able to escape, therefore Siracusa has to be inescapable. I now have to make sure that she understands this. She has to feel what I felt. That was her top priority for quite a while now. Some of you might call this yandere. In my world you call this a disorder. I'm not a psychologist, but it seems like she is legit just trying to project her personal trauma onto somebody who essentially did not fail at what she failed at. Is she trying to break Texas in order to prove a point to herself? The affirmation of I did not fail, the thing I tried to do is just impossible? And Texas breaking and admitting it would give her that feeling? I don't know, man, but she reminds me a bit of a certain D&D character. We could try to sit here and speculate further, but this is not a true crime documentary, and believe it or not, there is some more to her. Yes, Il Siracusano comes with some character development for Lappland. Everything we discussed so far has been her until a certain point. Back during the Purge, Texas ran away from her situation because she felt powerless to change Siracusa. However, this time around she met so many Siracusans who struggled and suffered to bring change to the country. And while her desire to leave all of this and return to Lungmen is huge, her anger at all of this suffering is huge as well. When she returned from going out to saving Giovanna Rosati, she states that she is not going to run away this time. She wants to stay involved in this whole mess and is filled with determination. Lappland tries to do that whole "yeah, but can you actually do something about it" thing, and Texas answers with a chat yes. And she follows it up by asking Lappland how long she is gonna stay on a leash herself. And that's when a massive switch flipped in Lappland's head. Although she wanted her to break and return to Lungmen, she now says that she now is full of joy about this surprise from Texas, and with a smile on her face, she walks towards her father's mansion. She attacks the Saluso estate and fights her way to her father. He asks why she decided to betray him now. She says that she is here because Texas had taught her that the choice existed in the first place. Thanks to her own experiences, she always thought that she had no choice, but Texas showed her that there in fact is a choice. And Texas made the decision that Siracusa is not a lost cause. She made the conscious decision to stay here and help, although she would have been allowed to leave out of her own accord. Apparently, those few things that Texas said earlier gave Lappland the realization that there is in fact a choice, a decision to make. Always has been. That's why she's here. Not to rebel against her father or fight him, she's just here to say goodbye and tell him that she has cut all ties with the family stuff by doing just that. So yeah, Texas making the decision to stay proved to her that she can make the decision to just leave. She explicitly states that Texas was right and she was wrong all the time. The only tie Lappland now has to cut is her connection with Texas. The two meet up to fight one last time, a final battle. She goes all in, ready to kill her. The only possible outcome to this encounter, according to her, would be one of them dying. Lappland is ready for both outcomes. If she loses, she will accept her death. If she wins, she is liberated from her last tie and she can let it all go. And she ends up actually defeating Texas. But when she saw Texas lying on the floor and saw the unwillingness to let go in Texas's eyes, she realized that she had been wrong once more. Lappland extends her hand to her and asks whether they are friends or enemies. Texas takes her hand and says both. Not long after that, she just leaves the entire area without saying goodbye. And there you have it, the relationship between Lappland and Texas. Lappland's side is, she failed to escape Siracusa, so she wanted to break Texas and make her admit that it is impossible to escape. But then Texas made her realize that it is possible to escape, and she escaped. Texas's side is, none. She just seems a bit annoyed by her. And that's the too long didn't read of this video. Now let's answer the most important question of all. Are they fucking or nah? From what we can tell right now, probably not. Next video will be on Project Red, so subscribe to the channel, check out the second channel for more Arknights, and shout out to my channel members for keeping it real. Special thanks to Ann, Koku, Carousel, Ava, Chris, Daniel, Henriquez, Duff, Eldo, Shoot, Demoboy125, Elite 117, Erwin, Heckler, Jim for First, Kivinato, Longo, Neosal, Vessa, and the Frenemies. Thanks a lot for your support, guys, and for you. Thanks for watching. Cheers!